and Ranking Member Graves, and to the entire committee for giving me the chance to join you today to share my perspective on the vital issues that are under your jurisdiction, and particularly the infrastructure needs of my district. For most people, the word infrastructure invokes the image of roads and bridges, but it is so much more than that. It's the public transit system taking people to work every day, the pipes delivering safe drinking water to our homes. It's the power grid keeping the lights on in this very room, and the broadband access that gives us the ability to connect with people without stepping out of our front door. Not to mention, it is the means to fight the climate catastrophes currently threatening our future. And the role of infrastructure plays in our lives is as broad as definition of the word in itself. It isn't simply a means to get us from a point A to point P. It's a lifeline of a community connection and the impact quality of life of every living person in the United States. Because how you count on an ambulance making it on time to save your life during an emergency if you can't count on the roads being drivable? How can your child be expected to succeed if they don't have access to internet to be able to do their homework? And I ask, how can we build a metaphoric bridge between diverse communities in our country if we aren't able to build little bridges connecting them? America has a long history of building some of the most impressive infrastructure systems in the world, and investing in these vital networks is part of what makes this country exceptional. But unfortunately, we are beginning to fall behind. Since 2010, China has spent roughly 8% of its GDP on infrastructure, and on average, European countries spend an equivalent of 5% GDP. But the United States' investment has hovered over 2.4%. And we've been putting off the backlog of maintenance needs, which are estimated of $2 trillion. The effects of that diminishing investment can be seen in communities all over the country. If you were to travel to the district I represent, I certainly invite each one of you to do that. You will see an illustration of an infrastructure need everywhere you look. 12 years ago today, the I-35 Mississippi Bridge in my home district of Minneapolis fully collapsed in the middle of busy rush hour. 13 people lost their lives and 100 people were injured. More than a decade later, experts agree that we have not addressed the infrastructure crisis. But you won't just see the examples, you'll hear about them, because need for infrastructure investment and improvement in the minds of everyone living in our community. In fact, since being elected in just a few months, I have not had a single conversation with a mayor or a local elected official in my district who didn't raise the concerns for public transportation as being their pressing need. Right now, there's a strong public push for an investment in projects in Minneapolis, the light rail system that would extend the Blue Line, adding 11 stops that would further connect the city with the surrounding areas. For my district, a project like this is one that is more than about commutes or train space. It's about choice and opportunity. Expanding public transit options gives my constituents the chance to move out of areas that they might not have more affordable housing. It means that a coffee shop in Brooklyn Park could attract more customers doing their commute and consequently hire more staff. It means that seniors who might struggle to get around will have more options for visiting their loved ones or travel to a doctor's office. So I encourage this committee to focus on smart solutions and develop a future-focused strategy. I'm happy to extend an invitation to all the members of this committee to visit Minnesota's 5th and take stock of the many projects we're working on. We speak for most of Americans in welcoming a robust investment in local infrastructure. Please consider my invitation, and thank you again for convening us and having this very critical conversation about much-needed investment in infrastructure around the country.
Right. I thank the gentlelady particularly for tying together all, I mean, everything from broadband to public transit to, I mean, what you did is you knit it together in a way that shows the interdependence and how we have a lot of investments to make. And also, I go around giving speeches about the pathetic efforts we're making nationally compared, I mean, I used to say we were becoming third world, and our colleague Earl Blumenauer said to me that was insulting. I said, well, you know how bad it is? He said, no, insulting to third world countries. They're investing a higher percentage of their GDP than we are in transportation infrastructure. So I really appreciate your emphasizing that point. So I thank the gentlelady. Does anyone have